Hello students, today we are going to study ecology, ecology second. This is my fifth lecture, and in this lecture we'll study community and structure of communities and different organisms in communities which are main characters of the community. Communities and ecosystems. A community of living organisms can be defined as all populations living in an area make up a community. It is a body of individuals living in a defined area or having a common interest or organization in ecosystem. Biotic community is an assemblage of population living in a defined area. Now we take the heading of Climax community. What is a climax community? The final, stable and mature community in a series, in succession and in equilibrium with the environmental conditions, and is composed of definite group of plants and animals. The entire sequence of community is called as sere. A climax community is a final community and very much old and mature and grown up in an ecosystem. Community structure and diversity. Communities have their unique organization, and some members of those communities have vital importance in the characteristics of the communities. For example, rainbow trouts community in a stream, which is a fish, rainbow, and it is its what you call role in a community is determine its survival and function in the community. A keystone species. Keystone species are the species on which several other species depend. For example, in a marine ecosystem or any type of ecosystem, a keystone species is an organism that holds the stream together. Without its keystone, an ecosystem would look very different. If we take the example of a marine ecosystem, there are otter and aquatic mammals eating fishes or sea urchins, and sea urchin and kelp, a type of algae growing in the sea. Those three organisms, that is kelp, sea urchin and otter, and they are integrated unity in this marine ecosystem, and three of these organisms are interlocked and dependent among themselves for the survival and their flourishing in this environment. Community diversity or species diversity. A variety of animals present in a community is called community diversity or community richness, which reflects community structure in an ecosystem. Then we see what is ecological niche. Ecologic or ecological niche is the place of an organism within its community or an ecosystem. It is an important concept in community structure and its diversity. Niche is actually the function an individual or organism plays in its community or ecosystem. Ecological niche also describes how an organism or population responds to the distribution of resources, competitors, and in turn alter those same factors. So we see that ecological niche is a very important factor in the ecosystem for the survival of animals integrated with each other. Niche is the role or function of an animal in its environment, which includes type of food it eats, where it lives, where it reproduces, and its relationship with other species. Every species of animal occupies a niche in the community. We define a keystone species. Keystone species are the species on which several other species depend. For example, in a marine ecosystem or any type of ecosystem, a keystone species is an organism that holds the system together. Without this keystone species, an ecosystem niche examples here are barking tree frogs. A description is that regarding the niche habitat of the frog, that is wetlands, behavior often found in trees, can burrow, attack its male by barking sound, feed on small insects, eaten by birds, snakes and raccoon, etc. Impact on ecosystem, a check and balance of insects by eating them, and aerate the soil, serve as food resource for other predatory organisms. Now we see community stability. Just as the case with individuals, community are born and they die. This is the cycle of life. Organisms are born and dying. The dominant members of a community often change communities in predictable ways in a process called as succession. An orderly process of community change is succession. The first community to become established in an area is called the pioneer community, and succession are of two types, that is primary, secondary, and maybe there is a third type of succession, that is tertiary successions. So succession is very important factors in a community. At last again we have a look on fundamental versus realized niche. Fundamental niche is a full range of conditions and resources that an organism could theoretically use in the absence of competitor or competitions with other species. Realized niche, portion of the fundamental niche that an organism actually occupies, actual range of conditions and resources that an organism uses. A niche overlap between species lead to competition. Here moisture and temperatures are taken on y-axis and x-axis respectively. Fundamental niche is indicated by yellow rectangular box, and circular part of the rectangular box indicated by green color is realized niche of the organism.